What's up, fam? So first of all, I want to make this clear that this is a color grading based tutorial, not a general overview of DaVinci Resolve. So if you're looking for Fairlight tutorial or Fusion, this ain't it. So you can kindly leave this video as soon as you hit the like button. For the rest of us, let's get this party started. Now, those that are on the fence, like you're wondering, why do I need to learn Resolve? I'm great at Premiere Pro or Final Cut 10. Well, let me tell you, Resolve is an entirely different beast. Now, what do Spider-Man No Way Home, Jurassic World, and Top Gun Maverick have in common? You guessed it. They're all graded in Resolve. So why wouldn't you want to learn the most powerful finishing tool in the world? Oh, and it's free. So on Google, just type in DaVinci Resolve for free, download. And then what you want to do is just click on this guy right here. And here you have both versions. You can either purchase the studio version, which I highly recommend, or just get the free version. So I'm going to hit this guy and then click on, you can get the full version Resolve 17 or get the beta of Resolve 18. So it's up to you, but I'm just going to go ahead and start downloading 18. You have to fill out your information and then hit register and download, and it's going to start downloading. Obviously, I have Resolve 18, so I'm not going to go ahead and download that, but you have to do this to get the software for free. So once it's downloaded, let's go ahead and turn it on. So this is what you're going to see when you first launch Resolve, okay? And what you need to do is click on this guy right here. And then it's going to open up your project libraries. And these libraries are exactly the same as Final Cut 10. So if you're used to that, each library contains a bunch of different projects, right? This is exactly the same. So what you want to do is, instead of like the local database that is stored on your program files or on your C drive on Windows or on your Macintosh HD, you don't want to do that ever, because if the main operating system gets corrupted, everything is gone. So what you want to do is click on Add Project Library, and then in here, you can do two things. If you already had a database, you can connect to it by clicking on Connect, or I'm assuming you're just getting into Resolve, so this is your first time, you can click on Create and now call it something. So I can call it DaVinci Resolve 18, and that could be it. And then you have to browse and find a location. I will highly recommend finding the fastest drive with the most storage, okay? So once you find that, go ahead and click Open, and then once you do, you can just hit Create, and it's going to create a database. And then that's going to be your default database. So if there is an orange outline, that means that's the database you're in, okay? And once that's done, all we have to do is just double tap to open a new project. And now we're inside Resolve, and it's gonna look like this. Go over to the media page, and now what we wanna do is, the first thing is to go under DaVinci Resolve keyboard customization. So now you guys are probably familiar with this if you're using Premiere Pro or Final Cut 10. This is no different. You can click on this guy right here and then pick whichever tool you're most comfortable with, that keyboard layout. And then you can just modify it from there. Okay, so that would be my first pro tip if you're starting out in Resolve, to make the transition easier. The next step is going to be clicking on your DaVinci Resolve preferences in here. And then once we go into preferences, the only things that I'm going to touch base on, the first one is going to be media storage. Make sure you pick a media storage. And again, it should be the fastest drive with the most storage. So pick that location, because that's where all your gallery stills and cache files are going to be stored. Cache files, whatever, I don't care. But gallery stills are extremely important, okay? Once you start building a wide library, a huge library, you don't want your gallery stills to go offline. So moving on, we're going to go to memory and GPU. And in here, just make sure that everything is set to auto under GPU configuration, and that should be good enough. Under user, we're going to look at project save and local. And what you want to do is, if by default live save is on, but project backup is not turned on, make sure you turn that on and then set it appropriately, however you like to work. And then click on your browse, and the location that you want to pick here should be different than where you're saving everything else. Why? Because if, God forbid, that one drive that you have everything is on, something happens to that drive, this way you're going to have your project backup saved somewhere else. Okay, so it's a good contingency plan. Now we're going to move on to our project settings. So I'm going to click right here, this little cogwheel, and in our project settings, a couple of things that we need to look at. When you drag and drop your first clip, just like Premiere Pro and Final Cut 10, it's going to modify the entire project settings and the timeline. So you don't have to worry about this for now, okay? What you do have to worry about is this guy right here. You want to make sure that you select, again, the fastest drive with the most storage for working folders, all 3 folders, all right? And that's all for the project settings for now. So I'm just going to hit save and come out. Now I'm going to go ahead and locate the clip I want to bring in, and I'm just going to grab it and drag and drop, okay? And see, now it's going to prompt and ask you to set the appropriate settings. So I'm going to hit change, and now everything is ready to go. I don't have to do anything else, okay? And at this point, I can just click on this clip and then right click and say create new timeline. And let's just give this timeline a name, and we're going to call it DaVinci Resolve Tutorial. Okay, and now we have a new timeline. You can go under your edit page and you should be able to see your timeline right here. So this does not have an audio track. All we have is just this one clip. Now we're going to be setting up this project in Asus, and if you are wondering why, one word: dark. The most beautiful show ever existed was graded in Asus, and I did an interview with Stefan, the colorist, and for those that are interested to watch it, comment below. But in all seriousness, Asus is the golden standard, and rightfully so. Netflix, Technicolor, Disney, Warner Brothers, Dolby Laboratories, DreamWorks, ILM, Pixar, MPC, these are some of the most known brands that are deeply rooted in the entire Asus pipeline. Now, once you grade in this color space, your time will literally be cut in half with superior results. So let's jump in. All right, so time to put that to use. So I'm going to click on my project settings. I'm going to go under color management, and then under color science, I'm going to go ahead and select Asus CCT. And in here, I prefer leaving the Asus input transform to no input transform. Why? Because most of the time, people shoot with multiple different cameras, and if you set this to a specific camera, that's just gonna create problems. Okay, so leave it as is. And then for our output transform, this is going to be Rec 709, okay, because our output is going to be for web and just online, which the color space is going to be Rec 709. So we're going to leave it to that, and then make sure to select use color space aware grading tools. So when you're using HDR palette or color warper, they're going to behave in the right color space, which is going to be Asus CCT. Okay, that's all I have to do here. I'm just going to go ahead and select save. So this happens, right? Because we still need to feed the proper camera information. So before I show you how to transform your footage properly for Asus, let's just do a quick page overview. And what we see here is on the top left side, we got our gallery, LUTs, and media pool. 3 different categories here on this side. And majority of the time, you're going to be dancing between these two, okay? Or you can just click and buy more real estate, especially if you're working on just a single screen. And then in the middle, we got our nodes. This is where majority of the magic happens. On the right side, you got your effects. If you're not using them, you can just click this guy and buy, again, more real estate. On the bottom left side, this is where all your primaries controls are. Your secondary controls are in the middle right here. And then your scopes, keyframe, and your metadata information is on the bottom right. Okay, So that's all you need to know for now. All right, this is a beginner tutorial. I want you to just get going. Since this is a beginner tutorial, I'm going to keep the grading process to the absolute essentials. And for those that want to deep dive, then I suggest you check out my free 1-hour training. It is a much more in-depth course that covers topics like Conform, a process where you bring footage in and out of Resolve from, say, Premiere Pro or Final Cut 10. I will also share my personal tricks to help you match your shots like a pro. Nailing skin tones is expected of you, and I got some secrets that will take your game to the next level. The information packed in this training is worth the 2-day boot camp. So definitely check it out. Link is in the description, and let's get grading. So now let's get to the good part, grading this shot. And what is really going on? It looks absolutely awful. Before I even jump into transforming this shot properly, what I want to do is click on this guy right here to expand my scopes. Now you can set up your scopes however you like. You can do a 2-up, quad-up, or 9 scopes, but it will require a bigger real estate. But what I'm going to do here, I just got a quad-up going on. I got waveform on the left. I got a colorized waveform on the top right. Then I got parade and vector scope. And then in here, I just made sure to check display qualifier focus. In my vector scope, I made sure to turn on show a skin indicator, and that's it. That's all that's happening here. Okay, so now let's click on this guy right here where it says clips. I'm going to right click on this clip, and I'm going to go under ASUS input transform, and we know that it's Sony, and we know that it's S-Log3 as Gamma 3 Cine. So I'm going to click on that, and it looks like this, and you might go, well, it still doesn't look right, Qazi, but I will disagree. This is properly transformed. It was just shot overexposed. So the general rule when it comes to shooting digitally is exposed to the right, ETTR. And that's what's happening here, right? Everything looks overexposed, but because of the magic of ASUS, we're going to be able to bring that in perfectly, and you'll never even notice that it was shot overexposed. So let's do that right now. I'm going to create 3 nodes. That's all we're going to be doing, guys. It's just going to be the simplest grade you've ever seen, yet the most effective. First node, I'm going to call primaries. This is where I'm going to make all my primary adjustments. This we're going to call secondary. This is where we're going to do some jiggery pokery. Here, this one I'm going to call curve or curves. This is basically my tone mapping is going to take place right here. Okay. So now let's go to our primaries. And all I want to do is I want to go under my HDR palette. Why? Because this global offset in your HDR palette works exactly like how the exposure works on your camera. Meaning, let's just say this looks really, really overexposed, about 2 stops overexposed. I can click on exposure, double tap in here and type in -2. So basically subtract 2 stops. And if I hit enter, boom, look at what just happened. Look at this magic. Everything came in. Everything looks good. Look at the top, the roll off up here. ASUS kicking in hard, giving you that magic. Everything is looking good. And can I push it more? Can I pull it down more? I don't know, but let's try it. So if I grab this and pull this down more, I think, yeah, I think we can like really go in about 2.5 stops like that. And then at this point, I'm going to go under my curves. I'm going to go under my primaries and just use contrast and pivot. Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. And I'm going to start cranking it. I don't want to go too far, but this something like this looks pretty good. I want to go under my primaries, and I see a lot of warmth. Okay, my entire image is sitting on this top right quadrant, which is like these warm tones, and we got to balance it out. So I'm going to go under my offset, my printer lights in my primaries, and I'm going to grab this and I'm going to start pulling it around, okay, until it starts to look somewhat normal. So I'm going to leave it right here, and I'm going to hover over here to make sure what my skin tones look like, and skin tone indicator you'll see right there when I hover over. It is looking pretty good. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I think I just want to warm it up a touch. So I'm just going to grab it and warm it up a touch, and now I'm going to hover over right here. I think I want to warm it up a little bit more, but not necessarily add red. Okay, this is looking much better. So I'm happy with this. And if I do before and after, or if I just reset this, and then this is where we started, this is where we ended up, looking so much better. Now with that, I feel like we can just go under our primaries, take my lift and pull it down just a tiny bit, not too much, but I want to see what else I can get out of this image. So even something like this, and then I want to take my gain and crank it up a little bit. I don't want her to have too much contrast though. But I think this is looking much better, okay? So I'm gonna leave it right here. At this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go under my secondaries and I'm gonna go under Windows. This is how you access your windows right here. I'm gonna click on this circular little guy and I'm going to use the UI on screen to control these. I'm gonna click right here and rotate it just slightly. It's always a good practice to rotate your windows so they're not so linear and symmetrical. And at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to move this up right now. I'm going to go under my softness. I'm going to crank it to somewhere around 12-ish, something like that. And at this point, I'm going to hit Shift H so you guys can see what's really going on. I want to invert my window so I can affect the outside of it, okay? And let's just make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to move it over a little bit like that. And now what I want to do is I want to hit Shift H so we can see what's happening. I want to take my gamma. I want to start cranking that down. I'm going to go too far and then I'm going to start pulling it up. And then I'm going to leave it somewhere around here. And now if I do before and after, look at the difference. And if I just click out of that window, you guys can really see the difference that we're making. Right? Just look at that, what we created. So I'm going to pull this down now. 3 simple windows. I did not have to track it because she's right in the middle. And the reason why I wanted to build a node tree like this is because it is repeatable and it is super, super simple, not intimidating at all. Okay, so let's just kill these and let me show you. So we started with setting up our exposure. Then we went and created a nice contrast. We went back to our primaries and we adjusted the colors using our offset. And then we created a window to control the background. So we have more emphasis on our girl in the middle. And there's no artifacting, none of that. And guys, look at this. The result we were able to achieve. Now, mind you, this is your Rec 709. So people who are like, Rec 709 looks better. Look, Rec 709 always will be a starting point, okay? It will never be your final grade. So this was the Rec 709 out of this camera, and this is what we ended up with. That is just one direction. The beauty of color grading is that you can go in 100 different ways with this same exact footage. Now, let's jump into our deliver page and export this puppy out. All you have to do in here, just use the presets, okay? As a starting point. So if you want to export it for YouTube or Vimeo, H.264 master, you're good to go. If you want to export a master with the highest quality, you can just do ProRes 422HQ, or you can change that to 444, especially if you're working with Alexa or Red footage. Once you're set up, you can just hit add to render queue, and then it's going to ask you, hey, where do you want to save this file? And let's just say that we go here under deliverables, we hit save. And now it's going to add it right here. And then once it's added here, all you have to do is just hit render all and boom, it's going to shoot it there. Under file name, obviously you can change the name if you like. And then that is going to get updated right here. Hit render all and you're ready to go. And it's just that simple. So there you go. Quick and easy overview on how to start making your footage sing. If you have any content suggestions, drop them in the comments. Also, what was the last movie or show that you watched and what did you think of the color? I want to know. I just rewatched Shutter Island and the look is to die for. It came out a while back, but it still holds up ridiculously well. And guys, don't forget to check out the training. Link is in the description. And if you love me, then smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you can be notified about the next sizzling hot content that comes out. And remember, Work hard, get obsessed, get possessed. I will see you guys in the next video.